Hello, hi students. In the previous part of asymmetric synthesis, we have seen what enantiomers are and what diastereomers are, and an example of asymmetric synthesis we have seen, where if one of the enantiomer or diastereomer is produced in major quantities, then such kind of synthetic steps are asymmetric processes, are asymmetric synthesis. Now in this part 2 of asymmetric synthesis, let us try to understand some more terms we make use of in asymmetric synthesis, which we study that one as stereoselective reactions. So in this lecture we are going to study what stereoselective reactions are, what enantioselective reactions are, and what are diastereoselective reactions, various examples for diastereoselective reactions, and substrate stereoselective reactions, product stereoselective reactions. So by the end of this lecture, these things we should be able to understand. Let us see the first one, stereoselective reactions. If one of the stereoisomer is majorly formed as a product and other stereoisomer would be minor in quantities, then such kind of reactions are stereoselective reactions. So where your enantiomer may be produced more in quantities, one of the enantiomer is produced in more in quantities and the other would be in less amounts, then such kind of reactions are synthetic processes where one of the stereoisomer is majorly produced can be classified as, so if one of the stereoisomer, like for example cis is majorly produced and trans is less produced, so if S compound is more produced or R compound is less produced, S is major you can call and R is minor, then such kind of a reaction is a stereoselective reaction. Trans is majorly formed and cis is minorly formed. Trans is 90% and cis is some 10%. Such kind of reactions where there is a difference in quantities of stereoisomer produced as product are stereoselective, you can say. If the products are enantiomers, then you can call the stereoselective reaction as enantioselective reaction. And if the products are diastereomers, we call the reactions as diastereoselective reactions. So therefore you can say the classification of stereoselective reactions as enantioselective reactions and diastereoselective reactions, you can say. So let us see what enantioselective reaction is and diastereoselective reactions are. Enantioselective reaction, reactions in which two enantiomers are formed as products in unequal amounts are enantioselective reactions. So such synthesis in which you are carrying out a reaction, and in your reaction what happens is you got products and those products happen to be mirror images of each other and they are non-superimposable. Then if that relation is there, then you can say they are enantiomers. And among those enantiomers, if one is produced majorly and another is produced minorly, one is excess to the other, then you can say as enantiomers are produced in your reaction, you can call that one as enantioselective reaction. And one of the enantiomer has to produce excess, has to be produced in more quantities than the other. Then the one that is produced more in quantities you classify as major, and the one that is produced in less quantities, you call that one as minor. So you need to get enantiomers in your reaction as products. So, and one of the enantiomer has to be excess. Then you can classify the reaction as enantioselective reaction. So this is a simple schemat where your reactants are converted in in presence of some reagent. Obviously, we'll make use of a reagent. So you can say in presence of some reagent, what is produced? Enantiomer 1 and enantiomer 2 are produced, and one is major, another one is minor. It's depicted there. So then you can say that your stereoselective reaction is a enantioselective reaction. So let us see one real-time example, that reduction of ethyl acetoacetate, EAA. What is EAA stands for? Ethyl acetoacetate. So in reduction of ethyl acetoacetate, you get two enantiomers. One is S isomer, another one is R isomer. You get, what is going to get reduced here? The keto group. This is the keto group. This keto group is converted to alcohol, and this yeast, which is used as Baker's yeast, carrying enzymes, will convert this ketone specifically into alcohol, and you get an isomer with 80% yield, and the same ketone is converted even to R isomer with 20% yield. So you can call the S isomer as major and R isomer as minor, and these two S and R isomers are called enantiomers, and one of the enantiomer is produced in excess to the other enantiomer. Therefore, as your products are enantiomers and one of the isomer is majorly produced, you can classify this reaction of ethyl acetoacetate reduction as enantioselective reaction. Enantioselective reaction. And this is an enzymatic catalysis. So the reagent here we make use of in the form of yeast. That yeast produces ketases and converts ketone into alcohols, and you get one of the isomer, that is S isomer, is majorly produced and R is minorly produced. Therefore, this reduction is what? Enantioselective reaction. So let us see the other type of stereoselective reaction, that is diastereoselective reaction. So simply such kind of stereoselective reactions where you get products as diastereomers. If you are getting products as diastereomers, and if one of the diastereomer is major and the other is minor in yield, then you classify the reaction as diastereoselective reaction. Definition wise, you can say the reactions are the stereoselective reactions in which two diastereomers are formed in unequal amounts as products. Such reactions are what? Diastereoselective reactions. So in one of the reactions, typically you can represent a schemat as reactants are converting into products, and those products are what? Your diastereomers. D1 and D2 are diastereomers here. So, and one is major and another one is minor with 80% yield. This is major, and 20% yield. You can classify this as minor in yield. So you got stereoisomers that are diastereomers, and there is unequal yield of these diastereomers. Therefore, you can classify the reaction as what? Diastereoselective reaction. To exemplify, this is an acid catalyzed dehydration of 1-phenyl propanol. 1-phenyl propanol. So this is 3 carbons, 1, 2, 3, and on first carbon you are having OH, and first carbon you are also having phenyl substituent. So on first carbon you are having OH as well as phenyl. So 1-phenyl propanol. This one, dehydration of this compound in presence of concentrated H2SO4. So your dehydration results in 2 isomers of an alkene, of a substituted alkene, and one is trans 1-phenyl propene and other one is cis 1-phenyl propene. Both carbon chains on the same side is cis, carbon chains on opposite sides is trans. So you got trans compound and cis compound as products. So we already know that cis trans isomers are diastereomers or geometrical isomers. Geometrical isomers are also a class of what? Diastereomers. Therefore, and one of the diastereomer is produced in excess to the other diastereomer. So one is 80%, another one is 20%. So one is minor, other one is major. So this is more in quantity, so you can call major, and this is less in quantity, so you can call this one as minor. Trans is major and cis is minor. Therefore, you can classify this as diastereoselective reaction, as you got diastereomers as products, and one of the diastereomer is excess in quantity also. So in dehydration of this 1-phenyl propanol, you got a trans isomer as major and cis as minor. Therefore, this is a diastereoselective reaction. So let us see one more example. Addition of Grignard reagent to 1-phenyl propanol. 1-phenyl propanol. Here in this case, Grignard reagent is our alkyl magnesium halide is a nucleophile containing reagent. This nucleophile will attack the electrophilic center, that is electron deficient carbon of carbonyl in 2-phenyl propanol. This is propanaldehyde. So on that second position you are having phenyl group. So on addition of this nucleophile, you will get, followed by hydrolysis, you will get what? Alcohol, and that alcohol is having a chiral center. You can see this is having a chiral center. So that alcohol with OH being on what? Dotted line, or OH being on wedge shape, will produce R isomer and S isomers. Already you are having a stereo center within this molecule, that is 2-phenyl propanol. So this carbon is a stereo center. So this is R configuration. So as a result, you get here what? R isomer. This stereo center is R and this stereo center is R, and here it is RS you got. So RR and RS will become diastereomers. RR and RS will become what? Diastereomers. So therefore these two are diastereomers, and one of the diastereomer is in excess quantity, that is this RR isomer is major and RS isomer is a minor. So then you can classify this reaction as what? Diastereoselective reaction. This is 2-phenyl propanol, and your carbonyl is reduced to alcohol in presence of alkyl magnesium halide, that is Grignard reagent. And such reactions are what? As one of the diastereomer is produced excess in quantity, you can classify the reaction as what? Diastereoselective reaction. So let us see another type of classification of these stereoselective reactions based on your substrate, so or the product, whether there is selectivity in substrate or selectivity in product. If the reactants itself are what? Involving in different stereoselective reactions, then it is substrate stereoselective. Based on products also, you can say product stereoselective reactions. So stereoselective in terms of substrates and products, where we classify that one as substrate stereoselective reactions and product stereoselective reactions. See the first one, that is substrate stereoselective reactions. And here again you should have two stereoisomers as reactants, and one of the stereoisomer is preferred and another is not preferred by your attacking reagent or catalyst, or maybe because of solvent. If one of the stereoisomer is selectively reacting, so in the reactant itself you are having two stereoisomers involved, and if one of the stereoisomer is reacting and another is not reacting, or if one of the stereoisomer is reacting faster and the other stereoisomer is slow in terms of kinetics with the reagent or with the solvent, or in presence of the given solvent, chiral solvent, or maybe in presence of a given catalyst, such reactions are what? Substrate stereoselective reactions. That is, if the reagent or attacking agent prefers one of the stereoisomer over the other, then it is substrate stereoselective reaction. For instance, A and B are stereoisomers of a compound. For a given compound, A and B are what? Stereoisomers. And if a reagent selectively reacts with A and not reacting with B, or if a reagent selectively reacting with A faster and with B it is slowly reacting, or the reaction is slow, rate of reaction is slow, then you can call such reactions as substrate stereoselective reactions. So let us see an example. Cyclohexanol, this is okay, chair form of cyclohexanol, and we have taken one is trans, another one is cis. How you give trans and cis? At fourth position you are having butyl group is there, and in first position you are having OH in equatorial, and butyl is also in equatorial positions. 1,4 equatorial is trans, and 1,4 equatorial axial is what? 1,4 axial and equatorial is a cis, we classify that as. So OH is on what position here? Equatorial position, here axial position. So if OH is axial with respect to butyl in equatorial, then it is cis. If OH is equatorial and butyl is also equatorial, in 1,4 condition it is trans. And we are going for oxidation of this cyclohexanol. Cyclohexanol oxidation in presence of chromium 6 oxide. Chromium 6 oxide. Your trans isomer is slowly getting oxidized in presence of chromium 6 oxide, whereas cis isomer of cyclohexanol oxidizes fast in presence of chromium 6 oxide, giving rise to hexanone, cyclohexanone. Cyclohexanone is not hexanone, here it is cyclohexanone. So thus you can say cis isomer is preferred in oxidation over trans isomer. So both are reactants, cis and trans are what? Diastereomers of the same compound, that is cyclohexanol, substituted 4-butyl cyclohexanol. So both are what? Diastereomers. Cis or trans? Cis, one is cis, another one is trans. So diastereomers you can say, or stereoisomers simply. So, and in this, one of the reactant is preferred, one of the stereoisomer is preferred by chromium 6 oxide oxidation. And what is that? Cis is preferred over trans. And thus you got cyclohexanone fast in what? In the case of cis isomer. Therefore, you classify this reaction as what? Substrate stereoselective reaction. So this was the serendipity of Louis Pasteur in 1830s or 1835, that he was working on some kind of microorganism or some kind of microbes he is working with, wherein accidentally this tartaric acid tartarate in the form of salt, that is ammonium tartarate. Plus and minus isomers are in the same container. This plus and minus ammonium tartarate are in the same container, and one of the isomer is selectively eaten away by Penicillium glaucum, a microbe which is Penicillium glaucum. This microbe is selectively feeding on what? Plus isomer. If it is feeding on plus isomer in the container, what will be left over? Minus isomer will be left over, that is minus ammonium tartrate is a leftover. Therefore, you can classify this reaction as what? Stereoselective, substrate stereoselective reaction. So this is an accidental discovery in 1850s or so, wherein in one of the laboratory mishap, it is a serendipity, you can say. What Louis Pasteur found, that is, he was incubating this ammonium plus or minus tartrate with some unidentified microorganism, and later on it was identified as Penicillium glaucum, which is selectively reacting or selectively eating away or selectively consuming plus tartarate, plus ammonium tartrate it is consuming, and what is left over? Minus tartaric acid is, or minus tartarate is a leftover. So that is, then itself you can say this is an example of what? Substrate stereoselectivity by the microorganism. Substrate stereoselectivity by the microorganism. Even in the case of nose also selectively smells one of the menthol, mint flavors. So that is having menthol. Our nose usually smells one of the stereoisomer, and another stereoisomer is not having any flavor, are not detected by the nose. So thus you can say, again, that is a substrate stereoselective process. So let us see the other type also. It is product stereoselective reactions. Whatever diastereoselective reactions, enantioselective reactions that we have seen just now, the start of this lecture, are all product stereoselective reactions. We have seen that one as enantioselective reaction or diastereoselective reactions, where you are getting one of the enantiomer excess or one of the diastereomer excess. So those are the products, and there is stereoselectivity in that case. Therefore, you classify them as examples for product stereoselective reactions. So if someone gives you this one as what is product stereoselectivity, your enantioselective and product diastereoselective reactions are examples for product stereoselective reactions. So that here in this case, such stereochemical reactions in which the product stereoisomers, products obtained as stereoisomers and that are formed in unequal ratio, or exclusively sometimes only one of the stereoisomer is formed, then the reaction is a product stereoselective reaction. So just to schematically represent that, where your reactants in presence of a reagent and a suitable solvent and a catalyst are converting into stereoisomers, and you got two stereoisomers here, one is major and another one is minor. 80% one is major and 20% one is minor. So then what you can say, that your stereoisomer one is major in quantity as product, therefore this is a product stereoselectivity. All the all the enantioselective reactions and diastereoselective reactions that we have seen are examples for what? This one we have seen. This is one of the diastereomer is produced excess, therefore this is product is a stereoisomer. Products are stereoisomers and they are classified as diastereomers, therefore this is a product stereoselective reaction. And similarly this one here also, transisomer is major, therefore stereoisomer is majorly produced as a product, therefore this is an example for what? Your product stereoselective reaction. This we have seen as diastereoselective reaction. And similarly enantioselective reaction, here S enantiomer is major and R enantiomer is minor. Again this also will make an example for what? product stereoselective reaction. So anyway, let us see one more example with respect to product stereoselectivity. Okay, so here we are, this product selectivity with respect to, once again I would like to give you ethyl acetate in presence of Baker's yeast reduces to S isomer as major and R isomer alcohol is minor. So your ethyl acetate in presence of Baker's yeast produces what? S isomer. So this RS nomenclature we have learnt in previous class. So that's OH with thick line is R isomer and OH with dotted line is a S isomer. Okay, so thus is you got two stereoisomers as products, and they are enantiomers. Of course, they are enantiomers. So one of the enantiomer is excess. So and obtained as product. So therefore, there is selectivity in terms of what? Product. So if there is selectivity in terms of product, you can say that there is a product stereoselectivity in reduction of ethyl acetate by Baker's yeast. So that's your product stereoselectivity. Okay. And the same one you have written here, products reactants are converting into products. So where one of the product is major, that is stereoisomer is major. So as you got one of the stereoisomer major, you call that product stereoselectivity is there. That's what we have shown here also, that one of the stereoisomer is majorly formed. Okay, thank you.